Main phase.
Ooh, hello everybody and welcome to another arcade themed mainstream. Why another arcade themed one? Usually because they take a bit less time to prepare, to be honest. I've toyed with a few other ideas, but I thought, it's been almost a week since the last stream, so I should really do another stream even though the ideas aren't quite ready. For example, I've still got the potential pinball stream in the works. I'd also like to do a stream of games with dragons, since we played Dragon Breed and St. Dragon last time, and I thought there's lots of games with dragons, plenty to play there, and also other ideas, but for now, none of those are quite ready, so why not do another arcade stream, and again focus on games that, I've not played much of. Maybe you've played more of them, but ones I've not played much of, despite, doing 20 years of MAME work. So it's possible some of these are overlooked games, it's possible some of these are just games that everybody knows that I've just not spent much time with. Oh yes, we do have some Seta backgrounds here. I believe it is a New Zealand story PCB picture, actually, with a few fancy effects applied to it for the background, Bob. But yes, anyway. So, chat. Lots of people here. That's always good to see. The Ogre, unfortunately, probably can't be because yesterday was his day off and today is work. Aussie Guy's here early saying hello. Aussie Guy was with the facts. Main Mania, Edson, Mitchell, Carlo Cow, Bob, R09, Mike, Iris, Peter, R09. I think I said R09, didn't I? So that looks like our early joiners there. I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but I think it'd be quite nice to start getting on with the stream, wouldn't it? Because you don't want to listen to me waffle on and not playing any games. You want to see me die many, many times over in these games. And our first game will be UPL's Ark Area, which is one that I've included on so many lists of games that I want to stream and then not got around to streaming that I thought I better actually just start this one, stream off with this one this time. Otherwise I'll end up missing it out again. Oh, look, a fancy map of all the different areas. Now, I said in the chat earlier that UPL always remind me, say, of Williams, but the Japanese version. They've had that really over-the-top graphics and flashy effects going on in many of their games, much like Williams did with Defender and the like. So, this is Ark Area, probably one of the more overlooked ones. I think I'm going to change the keys actually because I have to hold down button 2 and that does not work with the default key mappings one. So, there we go. Oh. And this is very Robotron-like in the way everything's swarming you. It's almost a mix between Robotron and Time Pilot, I feel. We'd have to play the Sega CD version of Dragons there if we were to do that, because yeah, there's still a lot going on in terms of the Doomsday Project and Laserdiscs, but so far nothing that MAME can actually use. So we'll have to see when Dragons there arrives. It'll be boss time. But yeah, the controls on this are a little strange. You don't change direction until you press the second button. So it's like auto lock on your direction rather than holding a button to lock. It's quite odd to play. So it takes a bit of getting used to, and might be one of the things that put me off the game actually. Because it's the opposite of how you'd expect a lock system to work. But yeah, so if anybody can think of any games that maybe I should be covering, drop the names in the chat and I might consider them. I've already got a massive list of things I can potentially look at because there are a lot of games I never really play much of. I'm doing terribly at this. You can tell I've never really played it before. There we go. Maybe you can't. Maybe this is just how you think I play every game. And to be fair, if you've watched my streams, yeah. You might have a point. It's a very purple. I like games with purple backgrounds. There's a few shooters with very purpley backgrounds. That was Area 1 of 23, and that was the easy area apparently. Yes, thank you to everybody who's joined. It's always good to see plenty of faces in the chat, and I'm surprised, you know, this long after the whole lockdown thing has ended for most people, that I still get quite a few viewers and people watching afterwards. I thought by now people would, you know, just realise that they don't have time for this stuff anymore now. Now everything's back more to normal. But so it's always I'm always glad to see that there are people still interested in watching me play games badly and maybe discovering a few things. UPL founded as a subset company of Universal in 1972. Aussie guy with the facts there in the chat. UPL went bankrupt in 1992. And Hamster acquired the library in 2016. I don't know if Hamster are licensing it out to anybody or just doing the arcade archives using UPL's property. Obviously Hamster do a lot of work these days in arcade releases, and as far as we know it's actually all above board these days, unlike before when As has been mentioned a few times, they used to be using MAME. Without permission, of course. Because it was on the PlayStation 2 before MAME could even be licensed commercially at the time. Looks like Argus and Atomic Robo-Kid. Atomic Robo-Kid's another UPL game, and Argus is NMK, isn't it? Jaleco? To me, it reminds me of Robotron mixed a bit with Time Pilot, as I said. I think the 8-directional scrolling is quite Time Pilot. And you've got these waves of enemies, and they do seem to be in patterns you can learn. But they do home in on you, much like everything in Robotron. So it's an odd mix, and maybe the awkward control scheme lets it down a bit. This would probably be a much better game with twin sticks, but it doesn't support twin sticks. Then it really would be more like Robotron. Games that I should maybe cover. Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Metal Soldier Isaac 2. I think I've looked at that on a previous stream. It's one of those where the Taito MCU is still not done properly. And, of course, Isaac 1 is still not dumped at all. Because it's basically a prototype. Might look at it later. I seem to remember not actually being able to show much of it last time. This one, at least, you can cheese your way through it if you're just not very good at it. I think if you learn the patterns on this, you do a lot better. But yeah, this is all about waves and patterns. Ooh, and power. Ooh, explosive power. Look at all these goodies. I don't think it's lost forever. I think some collectors still have Isaac 1. Although, if they ever get it dumped, that is another matter. Yeah, Gamola Speed, the PC Engine game. All these UPL games do have common elements, and that's quite abstract in its artwork too, from memory. So yeah, I can see why that would remind you of it. So nothing looks like anything apart from sort of geometric shapes and stuck together. Look, here's, well, 2 balls and a pointy stick. And a grid in the background, rather than any proper background art on this level. It's got that style to it, doesn't it? The ice cream cones. Ah, of course, Bob. They weren't melting, and it looks hot here, but with the explosions, so that's some good ice cream. Okay, we've just got a spidery nest of balls. I don't know, it's got spiderweb patterns on it. But it's not firing spiders, it's firing missiles. Plays a bit like Nova 2001, yes. And Nova 2001 is inspired by Robotron. That makes sense, Aussie guy, that makes sense. Say, Robotron was a big influence. And I think Williams must have been a big influence on UPL in general. The colour cycle, you can see the text here. And you see that in so many of their games. It is one of those, yeah, I can identify a UPL game by the visual style. So let's see if we do any better on the first level now, because I was doing a bit better on the later level there, with a bit of practice. You know, once I've got the hang of the controls a bit. Let's see if I do just as badly here. You could say they got lazy, you could say it's style, I don't know. It depends what you want to buy into, Bob. There aren't that many variations on the backgrounds, to be honest, and there are a lot of different areas. So, you know, considering the capacity of the board, they can't do too much. So sometimes maybe grids work. So yeah. I cleared that more quickly this time. Seems the more quickly you clear things, the less likely you are to get the bigger enemies. I don't know. And I've got a really big boss the other time on that wiped me out. There are other games that have a lot of colour cycling too. What's it called? Omega Fighter. That's another with lots of colour cycling from memory. We did talk about colour cycling in streams before, actually. Some of these explosions look a little wrong. I don't know if that's a visual emulation glitch or just how they look. It looks like the 4 parts of the towers are flipped, but maybe it's just style. Does this have a rotary? No, this is joystick and 2 buttons, unfortunately, Bob. That's maybe one of the limitations of it. I think with a twin stick, or as you say, rotary, it'd probably be a better game. It's not a bad game, it's still an enjoyable game, but it just feels like it's missing that thing, that the special control scheme that would make it a bit more fun. Yeah, exactly, Cow. Why doesn't it have twin sticks or a steering wheel? Why isn't it called Final Area? Evening, Custardo. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. We are still in the first game here, which is a bit of UPL's Ark Area, which I think is one of the UPL's more overlooked games. As mentioned by Aussie Guy, it plays a lot like Nova 2001. There are plenty of games where you think they would be better with twin sticks, though. I mean, Data East Nitro Ball, Gunball is another one. It's clearly Smash TV-like, yet it doesn't use twin sticks, and it's an absolute pain to control as a result. So this is a bit easier once you work out how to play it. Yeah, put it in a generic jammer cabinet rather than have to have expensive twin sticks, I guess. I mean, most of the, even at Universal's classic games, they're not known for their dedicated cabinets and art. They're known as generic cabinet games. Except that bootleg Mr. Do I saw, which that was really good art, but that wasn't official. Ooh. Concentrate. NMK was founded in May '85 by Tamio Nakasoto. They left the video game business and started making electromechanical games in the late 90s and went bankrupt in '99. Again, Aussie Guy with the facts here. I mean, then UPL, NMK are connected with this one, are they? But we might look at some other games, including NMK ones. But that's Ark Area. It's definitely worth a go. And yeah, it gets it once you work out the controls. It's not too difficult. If you're not quite used to them, it's a lot trickier. Once you realise you press the button to change the firing direction to your current direction, so you can't be backing off and press the button because then you fire away. But once you get used to it, it plays pretty well. So definitely worth checking out if you've not seen Ark Area. Now, I was in a bit of a rush starting off the stream, so I did not have very much time to prepare my list in the order I want it to be in. However, let's move Ark Area up here and let's have a look at this. This one's a clone. I'm not sure this should be a clone. This is Nunchacken by Kaneko and Taito in '85. Now, you'll notice there is a lady posing on the title screen there, and in the parent versions of the game, which are Lady Master of Kung Fu, she does decide to take those clothes off. In this version, which is a very different version of the game, she does not. So, I'm sorry, Bob. We are playing the version where she keeps her clothes on. Also, the main character sprite, basically all the graphics have been changed in this version, which is the Taito licensed version, and even the gameplay has been changed quite substantially. So, should this be a clone? I'm not sure. UPL did some games on NMK hardware. They did Acrobat Mission and Van Dyke. Acrobat Mission is one we might look at. I don't know yet. The basic gameplay idea is the same here. You beat up people on your level. You find the door And you press the other button to go into the door, and you have a one-on-one fight. And in this version of the game, if you don't die, you get a key. Now, on the other versions, you get a letter. Part of me wonders if the colours and everything are quite right in this version, but they should be. It's just a very compared to the other version of the game, this looks ugly, very ugly. The sprite work is terrible. Mature.ini is your final lap. Yeah, the Lady Master of Kung Fu set's definitely a Mature.ini material, both of them, and there doesn't seem to be a dip switch to turn that off, so can't really play those on stream. But anyway, yes, we walk along, you find the door. Now note on this level you need 3 keys. On the Lady Master of Kung Fu set you always need 4 letters from what I can tell. There we go. So I've got 2 keys. I got hit there, that's not good. So it's clearly inspired by the likes of Kung Fu Master. Probably hence the title Lady Master of Kung Fu. But it doesn't play that much like Kung Fu Master, and it's not as stiff as Kung Fu Master. But all my final lap games in Mature.ini. The car crash is too horrific, are they? Not suitable for children. Let's go in the door. Right, so. Let's beat up this one. Now, some of these are really tricky to beat up, actually. They block everything after the second level. I think everybody's probably got their weakness. No, I've got 3 keys now. And the 4th floor is the top floor. Unfortunately, I died. But yeah, you get all the keys. Let's try this again. You get all the keys and then there's a boss battle at the top. But what I was trying to show you, and I'm not sure we'll get that far, is each level has 1 more key than the previous level. So, and the building gets a story taller. So the game actually progresses in a way that the other version doesn't. Now, as far as I know, there's only ever 1 door on each floor, so it's still quite simple. But say it is a very different game in terms of visuals and even how you play it, and the way the gameplay advances compared to Lady Master of Kung Fu. So I think Taito must have significantly reworked this over the version that Kaneko put out. I'm assuming maybe Taito didn't want their version to be mature. You think it feels unfinished, Aussie guy? That's interesting, because to me it feels like they've got more gameplay features. I don't know. To me this feels like they've done work on it after Lady Master, but you know, censored it and added a different mechanic for advancing the level. Unfortunately, we can't really play Lady Master to compare because Mature.ini. See, they're trying to stab me from below now as well. Get to the big door. Big door, big door, big door. You meant to go through the big door. I've got one more life left. I've got all the keys for it. Oh. Anyway, shall we have one more go at this? And if I fail again, we'll move on. I'm losing lives far too quickly, though, unfortunately. Yeah, this is about how you'd expect it to go when I'm playing the game. If I can die, I will die. It's going to be on the other side now, isn't it? Oh, look, I've gone to the wrong side. Now, the last room is just another fight against another guy. And then, as I say, the level just gets a floor higher. I believe you can go in. No, you can't go in the rooms again. On the other version, you can go in the rooms twice, but the enemy's not there. In this version, it doesn't let you do that, which again feels like a refinement. I think maybe they've simplified the game. Of course, you'd probably have to study the code to work out which version is newer. Some of the colours seem really off on this. I don't know why. Like the background there, Anyway. Right, let's see. Yes, I'm Kung Fu Lady. I should have been paying attention to where the doors were too. See, the chandelier's there. Unless it just needs an extra attribute bit on some of the tiles or something. But then we do know that some of these Kaneko games on similar hardware have protection surrounding the colours. I don't know. I mean, obviously I've never seen this on a real PCB to know what it should look like. I'm going to fail this time too because I'm losing too much health. Her name is Chak and she's a nun. I didn't even get to the top that time. The colours are wrong. So, what does it use for colours? It does have colour problems. Maybe they were never dumped for this set properly, or they're corrupt or something like that. I don't know. Right, I'm just going to... I don't know. Let's have a look. I'm just copying that link Aussie guy put down so that I can have a look at that later. Because I don't know if that's, if the colours are wrong. The colours look wrong. I don't know if it's something that we can fix or if it's something that's going to be a case of something like a bad ROM or similar. But it's always looked like that in MAME as far as I know. And yeah, it does look a bit wrong. And Aussie guy has posted a link that says the colours are wrong. So there's a Ridge Racer Arcade 1-up. Why not a Twin Final Lap 1-up? I don't know. But you'll probably have to email them, Cow, and tell them you really want a Twin Final Lap and see what they say. And they might say, no, Namco won't let us have that game because they only like Ridge Racer now. Anyway, so that was the family-friendly version of Lady Master of Kung Fu, which is Nunchacken, and it's pretty good actually. I quite enjoy it. They've got a range of different attack moves, although a lot of them aren't that useful. I'd give it a pass. I'd probably play more of that. But anyway, let's find another game to play. So I wish I'd actually sort of listened to order before streaming, but I didn't. Let's go with the old one. Let's go with a 1979 Taito game and Field Goal. I think I've played this on stream before. No sound as far as I know. But it's one of those Arkanoid style games. It's got a bit too much slowdown though. Maybe that goes away if you speed up the CPU, but I think the CPU speed is correct. I'm going to run it with mouse so I can actually play it a bit better. But yeah. So I find it interesting to see these early takes on Breakout and early Taito games in general. And I think I said last time, I feel that Neon System game Free Kick owes a lot to this one. It's got a similar bat and ball against a formation of sports players. In this case, they're American footballers. In the case of field goal, it's in the case of Free Kick, it's a soccer theme. But yeah, there's definitely a similar idea going on here. Maybe I need some music for silent games like this. I really don't know. Yeah, what is the CPU set to? The CPU is set to 1 megahertz, unless that is too low. Maybe it should be 2. I don't know what the maximum speed for these CPUs was in '79. That is it's probably the deciding factor. Maybe they couldn't do it any faster. Yes, this is early. I mean, '79 predates the likes of Arkanoid by quite a bit. Look, I got him in the head and he got knocked over. But yeah, you've not even got a regular ball here. You have got an American football with its egg shape. Unfortunately, I'm really bad at it, aren't I? Now, I'm assuming when you get through the barrier you can score said field goal. Oh, except now I've got an extra ring. Apparently that was a bad idea. I think my bat's getting smaller too, or I'm just imagining it. The chat is speechless after they found out there's no Arcade 1-up final lap. Indeed. So that bonus counter goes up when I hit the goal. How do I claim my bonus? That way. Oh, then you get your bonus when you clear out the ring. Okay, so it's a simple mechanic, but the fact that it's a breakout type game where all the pieces are moving is quite impressive. Hand egg, yes. The key is to first slightly deflate the ball. What's deflate ball key? No, I think the bat does get smaller because it feels bigger again. So something I did must have made it smaller. Maybe that's just how they try and limit your game time on this, because I don't think I picked anything up. Unless it's if you don't do enough... I don't know. Oh dear. Taito had a few early breakout type games. There was Straight Flush as well that we may look at, but not immediately afterwards. That's one for possibly later in the stream. I just wanted a quick go at this one because, yeah, I think it's actually a decent game that is overlooked because it's not, say, Super Breakout. Everybody just thinks, oh, early bat and ball games, the Namco semi-pinball ones like Bomb B, GB, and Atari Super Breakout, but there were other early ones too. Everybody had early ones. And this one from Taito is a bit different. It's giving you a brain injury, is it, Bob? There are not enough adult images in this one for you. Is that the problem? Does it need a nice pretty girl in the background? You know, a cheerleader. Anyway, it's a bit quiet, isn't it? I prefer to play games with sound, but if you like that type of thing, then yeah, I think that's a breakout game worth checking out. Now, looking through my list. Okay. I think this one's also got no sound though, after I just said that. This is a early Irem game. Imperfect sound. This is called Panther, and it's marked as a possible bootleg in MAME. I think because no title screen ever displays. Is it bootleg or prototype maybe, but I think there's graphics for a title in the ROM that don't get used, and the ROM fails a ROM check or something like that. Yeah, there are a lot in the late 70s, although most didn't have moving pieces like that one from memory. So yeah, this just plays in a track demo, forever. You can just run it, and we'll just keep looping this a track demo. So we can coin it up, and so yeah, there's a lot of missing sound. Now you aim your missile by using up and down at the side of the screen, which moves the aim at the side of the screen. You got to destroy the approaching tanks, I think. At least try to. There we go. Now, unfortunately, yeah, it's mostly silent. There's just a few beeps in the emulation. Now, the terrain does slow the tanks down. Oop, been hit there. Oh dear, the sound is quite awful, isn't it? Apparently, them being on fire does not stop the tanks. You have to fully destroy them. Wow. I am no one today. Reminds you of Commando, the Sega Commando, a little bit. It's almost an early crosshair shooter without the crosshair. Your crosshair is the combination of your position, the aim on the side. So I think I've actually taken that tank out, but the fact that it doesn't have a title screen and it kind of feels incomplete makes me wonder if it's a prototype or, say, a hacked version, or maybe a hacked version of a prototype. It's not a common game and not one that I really ever play much of. I think the terrain may also provide shielding against your bullets. I don't know. In that case, maybe not. This one got to the bottom there. It's a little bit missile commandy, and early Irem did kind of like this doomsday scenario type thing. They've got like World War III and Demon IX, all of which have a similar overall feel to them. Just lots of things getting destroyed, end of cities, This is prior to Missile Command, I think. So obviously that's a more famous example of cityscapes being destroyed. Yeah, it would work a little better in 3D, wouldn't it? Sound design is your passion. I'm sure you can appreciate the sound design here. I think it's probably just missing discrete circuits and stuff like that, discrete sound emulation. But yeah, it's maybe with proper sounds it'd be a little more playable as well. But unfortunately, you don't get that with a lot of these early games, and it's probably why I don't play them much, because I think sound is really important on games, and if I play something that's got no proper sound emulation, I tend to just look at something else instead, because to me I find it difficult to enjoy the games in that state. But there is an interesting little game here. The aiming is very fiddly though, and I don't know what you're meant to do when they all get too close like this. I mean, it feels like one of those, once it gets to a certain point, you're not going to win. And it's like, that's that point now. They're all too close. So yeah, I don't know if there's more than one level. I'm pretty sure a top score of 620 is not the best anybody's ever done at this game. Yeah, okay. I think we've seen enough of that. It might be quite a good game, but it needs work on the sound emulation. It needs maybe finding out if it was actually released. Maybe finding a version of the game that has a title screen. I don't know. It's one that's shrouded in a bit of mystery, that. I still play it from time to time, but yeah, I never really want to play it for an extended period, as you just saw. But I do like those early sort of crosshair shooter type ones, and we discussed before, but the Sigma Wanted game is another one. So notice Wanted. So Sigma in 84. So yeah, I think we played this one on stream before too, but again, it's not a common game that gets played much. But this is, you know, this is to me the earliest actual crosshair shooter I could find. Where you've got a character you've got to defend by moving out the way of bullets, and you've got a crosshair. And if you're not very good, your game ends very abruptly like that. This is quite quiet compared to all the others, but I think it's a better idea to keep more of an eye on your character. Being vertical really changes how you play this one, because you don't have the horizontal room to move, and you tend to forget to look at the bottom of the screen where your character is, and then you get arrows to your face, or spears to your face, or barrels to your face. The key is to not look too high at the screen. It said the end after the high score table. The Dutch are already here. Bank. That's a small horse. So you've got your little counter of the number of people you've got left to kill in the corner there. So yeah, this is the earliest example of really a game that is like Cabal that I could find. And I did play it when I talked about that, but I still think it gets overlooked. I don't know if anybody from Sigma ended up being involved at TAD, but might just be coincidence. Yes, unfortunately there are a few racial stereotypes in this, aren't there, Costado? It does look a lot like Shootout from Data East and Cabal from TAD. I know some Data East staff went to form TAD, didn't they? But maybe they were they? Could they be in Sigma first? Yeah, I don't know why the end screen is after the high score table, but that's just the ordering they've gone for here. Oh, well, sorry to the Dutch. In fact, sorry to everybody. I'm a little trigger happy. Probably why I'm getting spears to the face. Also, there were some dead cows in the background. Now you can't, if your shots go through somebody, they seem to kill them anyway. I'm not sure. No bonus for shooting these then. So you don't have to aim exactly on the foreground people. Yeah, they like to let you know you've hurt them. Gah. Ah, ouch. Gah. Probably not meant to shoot her because she's throwing hearts down. But maybe I am. Maybe she's just trying to distract me. The choice of colours for the bank, a little ugly, I have to say. not sure they had the best graphic designer working on their bank logo there, unless the colours in MAME are wrong, which would be the second game to say if the colours are wrong if that's the case. But hey, anybody got a PCB video to tell me if the colours of the bank are correct? Is it really meant to have a green border on it? I don't know why the Shun is putting on the Vits. Yeah, the colours are a bit ugly in this, aren't they? You can hit the people lower down. I think to hit the actual... These... okay, I don't know. Apparently you can hit everybody if the cursor's at the top. But... the disadvantage is you can't fire very quickly because you have to wait for the bullet to reach the top of the screen before it despawns. So you've only got 2 shots at once. So if I'm doing that, I can't have many shots on screen. You know, the 2 shots take forever to despawn if they don't hit something. So it's not optimal to have it at the top here because you can't react quickly. I mean, maybe that's a strategy you could play it with. I think maybe the ones with the windows on the second stage you have to be more exact. But yeah, apparently we can just put the cursor at the top and fire more slowly. Which means it's not quite a crosshair shooter. It feels like they had an idea and then didn't like it and changed it, or... I don't know. Can we do that on the stage? Yes. So the only disadvantage of having the cursor at the top is you can't fire as quickly. Oh no, can I not kill that guy right next to me? I'm not sure. Don't think I can kill the ones on the ground there when it's at the top. Yeah, turn to Space Invaders. So Sigma's wanted. Again, I do wonder if the colour emulation is quite right, but another very rare game. And a fun one that is actually worth playing, although, yeah, no, you can just put the cursor at the top. Changes things a bit. It's still played alright though, so I can't complain too much. Right, let's have a look at my list of other things to look at, since we are now already 50 minutes into the stream and we've barely done a thing. I'm just sorting out the list as well. Okay. This one is ugly. Slightly worried that it's by Paradise Co. Fighting Basketball on the Irem M63 driver. It's a horizontal game, so we'll have to change that quickly. So yeah, this apparently runs on Irem type hardware and is a basketball game. Except it's really, really ugly. And I don't know if it's meant to be. But we'll give it a coin and play it. So, note the way everything is flickering really, really badly. That is because the game doesn't actually wait at all to draw the sprites. There's no interrupt. It runs as fast as the CPU can run it. And so the sprite list ends up being updated mid-frame. It's really quite odd. It doesn't wait for a flag for any kind of video blank. It just draws everything as quickly as it can when it can. And the result is this. Yeah. Say, who are Paradise Co? Why does this run on an Irem board and why is it so ugly? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I did look. I looked at it. It's tried to find out if there was any way to fix it. It's the same hardware as I think it's Atomic Boy. But it just looks like it's badly emulated. But again, I've not seen a PCB of this one, any actual original footage, to know what it's meant to be. I mean, early sports games in general are kind of rough. So... Oh, I've not even got the ball anymore. I love how everybody looks unhappy when you take the ball off them. Is V33 16-bit or 32-bit? 16-bit?
Violation.
I think the the V70 is considered 32-bit. I think all the others are considered 16-bit. Almost as much flicker as a NES does dodgeball game. Yeah, it might just be how it is. It might just be that the company that developed this were just aiming for NES standard. I really don't know. Yeah, the aim thing automatically extends and tracks as you move around. You have to time your shots. It's playable, but it's definitely no NBA Jam. And it's not just the fact it flickers; it's the fact you're getting half sprites drawn all over the place because it's drawing mid-list updates and all sorts of nonsense. I've tried setting partial updates, and that just made it worse. But yeah. 01 pattern clear. V60 I think is implemented as 16-bit in MAME, whereas V70 is 32-bit. At least it was. It made doing the Sega driver quite annoying because the Multi-32 used the V70 and the regular used a V60. Although maybe the V60 is now being changed to 32-bit. I can't remember. Three-pointer? No, it's just a two-pointer. Maybe it doesn't have 3 pointers. No, it doesn't have 3 pointers because that was clearly from way outside the area, and I still only got 2 points for it. Yeah, I think the cheerleaders are background sprites. Background tiles. Anything that's not flickering is a background tile. The ref there is probably a background tile. You can probably check. Oh no, he's not. I don't know. He's just not flickering as much as the others. Maybe he's the first sprite in the list, or I really don't know. It's a mess. It is quite playable for a basic basketball game, but it's ugly. It's crude. It's a real oddity. Say Paradise. Paradise Co-Limited at 84. Apparently made this, and that's all we know, or at least all I know about it, unless Aussie Guy has some insight that I've missed in the chat, but I think this might be a bit of an obscure one even for Aussie Guy.
Violation.
Come on. Oh dear. The sound is also horrible, but probably correct.
Violation.
Overtime's violation throw-in. No. Oh dear. That's not what I wanted to do. I might have won it with 1 second left. There's Uncle Poo and there's plain old Poo. Yes. Apparently I completed the second level though. There you go. I'm not sure I want to complete too many more levels. Okay, I could play Canada. Maybe lesser played for a reason, this one. I have played worse, but I played much better when it comes to baseball and MAME. Why is it not quitting? There we go. Didn't want to quit out for some reason. Okay. So, where next? Apparently played that for at least 5 minutes. It's probably 5 minutes too long. You see, I could just play lots and lots of really bad games, but then you'd all get really annoyed and probably leave. So we should probably play something that's not bad, just that I don't play very often. So let's have a look down my list. Let's play a proper Taito game. Yeah. Since we've got a Seta New Zealand story type PCB in the background, let's have a look at Taito's Insector X, which I don't think is a rare game, but it's a game that I really don't play much of, so in that sense I think it counts. Paradise was likely a Japanese company. They made that, Fighting Basketball, Challenge Girl, a Mahjong game. They made 2 Mahjong games and that. And Paradise is the name of a company you would expect to make Mahjong games, so that kind of makes sense. So, there were quite a lot of 8-bit Taito shooters, and I don't know, I've never really played much of them. There's the Choukou, the Cloud one, a whole bunch of them. And I guess other people have played them, so they're probably not going to be new games to everybody, but I haven't, so I'll have a play of them. Yeah, I think this was also on the Mega Drive, Bob, yes. Which is interesting because the Mega Drive is obviously 16-bit. It's also quite quiet. Hold on. Let's actually turn the volume up a little bit here. So, it is nice and smooth, and it is cutesy with its nature look. But you know, you can't splash in the water. The water is just a background element. And maybe that's one of the things with some of these early 8-bit shooters. It doesn't... They've not got that flair. They've not got that flair I enjoy seeing. They just do the basics of, here's your ship, here's some enemies. Some nice looking graphics all the same. But you know, there's no big chains, there's just not much depth. And that's kind of maybe what puts me off them. Shots go in straight lines. It was developed by Hot B. Hot B also developed Choukou, and that makes sense because they're very similar games, and both of them end up just not being played much by me. And both of them on very similar hardware. Yeah, the graphics are really nice. Is it still a bit quiet? I think it might still be a bit quiet, but I'm going to turn it up a little bit more because to me this is still really quiet. And then we'll try and not die. There's Dr. Topple's Adventure as well, which is a vertical one. Extermination, I can't remember. So all these 8-bit Taito shooters that I never really spend much time with. So I figured I'm doing a stream where I'm doing lesser played games. Probably throw some of them in. I'm tempted to do a proper Taito stream at some point though, where I may throw more of them in. No autofire either, so you get clicky buttons. Yeah, you've got this shot too, but don't. How often you can use it? Is it unlimited? Maybe it is unlimited. It's just odd. I always thought it was bomb, but maybe it's an unlimited shot. And yeah, it's checkpointed. So that must be my power, because I've not got that anymore. I've lost that second shot. Still lost it. So I don't know what gives you the second shot, but obviously you don't have it all the time. But yeah, now it's mentioned that it's Hot B, it does feel very much like a Hot B game. I do like the creepy background noises. Is that the Hot B? I mean, it does have a flamethrower. The 16-bit versions weren't as good. I think it's because the Mega Drive didn't have the colour capabilities, so they end up looking worse than the 8-bit versions. What are Hot B's big games? Playgirls. No, I don't know. I think they did that Hangzhou thing for Data East, the prototype. That's actually pretty good. That was on my list of ones to maybe look at. They did the Shanghai games on Data East hardware. Super Shanghai Dragons, I think it was. I don't know what their major games are. They played. There's a decent NES game played, I think, that was Hot B. It surprised me. On a different stream. I think that QB bot prototype's Hot B, but that's not really good. Oh. This is where I failed to beat the B. Maybe this is the hieroglyphics in the background are maybe saying I should make friends with the B. Which one? I don't know. You'll have to go through the streams. They developed the Mega Drive Kajiki license from Kaneko. So I can't remember which NES game it was, but I definitely remember it being a Hot B one, and it actually being pretty good. It was sort of an action-adventure one. That's all I remember. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get past the first level on this. Not unless I put on some cheats. Apparently I'm just meant to strangle the bee, maybe that's what it's showing, but I don't know. I don't have that option. But yes, I think, as was mentioned in the chat, once you lose your power-ups, you're in trouble. Because everything takes longer to dispatch, and the collision boxes are huge. And this controls are a little bit laggy too, unfortunately. Which are you the ogre? Possibly, Bob. But the ogre is not here as far as I know, unless the ogre is now Bob. Right. I want to see what the other levels are like. This is where we have some fun. Invincibility. Kill boss quickly. Maximum power. It seems like a good idea. Take that, bee. Rule number 1 of shooters: cuteness is proportional to difficulty. That Korean one on the PlayStation's not PlayStation PC Engine's not too bad in terms of difficulty. Right, I genuinely completed the first level. Didn't cheat at all. Don't have maximum power because I cheated. So maybe in some cases where there are good Hot B games, Hot B were just the publisher. Yeah, that's another possibility. Again, a company called Hot B, you expect adult games from them. I did turn the invulnerability off. I think. Unless it's permanent. It's not permanent. Hey, look, those look like pipes from Mario, just with guns on top. So what is your collision box? 'Cause I'm sure I scraped the bottom of something there. It's big, but it's not your whole sprite. I did cheat. I cheated my way to level 2. Now we can cheat our way to the end of level 2 and see what the boss is like. Ooh, ooh, it's another wasp-like creature. Is this in the Dodonpachi universe? I don't know. It's not the worst, but it's clearly an 8-bit shooter. It doesn't have any flair to it. There's no debris flying around. It's just cute graphics, basic shooting mechanics, some big bosses. I can see why I don't actually play much of it. It just doesn't elevate itself to a level that I need it to for a shooter to impress me. Hey Marcelo, welcome. Hope you're doing well. You think it's a grasshopper? It might have been a grasshopper. It looks slightly bee-like, but it was probably a grasshopper. You're right. I don't know. Anyway, let's go with a little-known secret. Twin Kicks is very different between the different versions. I don't think the Japanese version is jump. Let me just make sure. Yeah, there's no Japanese dump of this, but I'm loading my cheats this time. If you want to change the region to Japanese, which we'll do show shortly, you can use the cheat file. But Twin Kicks, the American version, looks like this. Oh, again, it's super quiet. See, very spacey. Yeah, the backgrounds were very static on Insector X2, weren't they, John? So you see, you've got this spacey Egyptian theme. It's not too interesting, and that's how the American version of Twin Kicks looked. Now, if we go to cheats, select region Japan, reset, set up the game again. Let's actually set the sound volume to maximum. That's better. Yeah. Now, what did the Japanese version look like? Yeah, they just used the puzzle bob music for some reason. Now, the Japanese version is very similar situation to Puzzle Bobble 2. The Japanese version is entirely different looking. So now you've got, say, cutesy graphics. The music actually fits the cutesy graphics, unlike the space theme where it really didn't fit at all. So yeah, it uses an entirely different set of graphics when run as Japanese compared to when running it in the US region or the world region. Hot B was formed in '83 and published games under the Gamu Game Dream trade name in '84, and they went out of business in '93 according to Aussie guy. And Hot B USA was formed in '88 and continued into the 2000s. So this feels more like a Gauss Panic game, except I don't think there's any nudity in it. However, it is still part of the Kick series. I think it's... Is it the only time Taito went with this, characters rather than buildings and other things, I think. But it's very strange to see just how different the game becomes if you swap the region on it. There aren't many that change that much, and the proper Japanese board has never been dumped, and even the US version that is dumped might have been from a prototype board rather than a retail board, so maybe it just never actually came out. This might also explain why it's just got puzzle bobble music. Yeah, the original Kicks was Taito of America. This obviously is not. Yeah, Vertex is... I don't think it's actual F3 hardware. I think it's an F3 variant like Galactic Storm and Gunbuster and the like, Operation Wolf 3. They're not quite F3, they're just, I think they're 68020 based with some similar video chips. Yeah, obviously this region modified version of Twin Kicks doesn't get played much because you have to use a cheat to access it. And I don't think Twin Kicks itself gets played that much because it doesn't really offer much over the rest of the series. And it's gameplay people expect, you know, associate with the adult games these days. Enemy is breakfast. Yes, it's making me hungry. But the music on every stage just seems to be the puzzle bobble music, which, yeah, it does kind of suggest unfinished. Let's continue. I've never been very good at kicks. I always just... It's like crossing the road. I should probably not be allowed to do it. I meant to look before you move. I thought it was going to move. I don't understand the AI in these games. It always seems to move slightly towards you, even though you think the pattern's going to go elsewhere. So I don't know if they actually intentionally bend the enemies towards you, or if I'm just incredibly unlucky in my timing. It just always feels like they do. It looks like, you know, you study the pattern, you think, oh, you can make it there, and suddenly it'll just make a U-turn for you. At least I've noticed that in Gao's Panic games. Could just be my imagination though. I guess it's called Twin Kicks because it's a two-player game as well, so you've always got the second player on the forced split screen mode, which doesn't harm this game too much. It harms some games like Max RPM and Spy Hunter 2 that we looked at last stream, but this one, there's not much else you could do with the screen area anyway unless you just had a bigger playfield. And I don't think you need a bigger playfield. The later Gao's Panic games did have a full screen playfield. Did it help them? Maybe. But it works without them anyway. You think I'm just bad? That is also possible, Carlo. But see, it's a cutesy version of Kicks. You can get by using the cheat to region hack it. I mean, you can region hack the ROM if you really want. It's just a single byte change, which is what the cheat does. That looks a very Arabian magic themed level. I don't know if there's any cameos in this of other Taito IPs. But I think you get the idea. So, yeah. The often overlooked region swap version of Twin Kicks, where people don't realise it's a completely different game visually when you region swap it, because nobody really cares about Twin Kicks anyway, and it may not have even been released for all I know. Let's have a look down the list. Did I play this before? I can't remember. Let's bring out Athena, Seta, Dragon Unit. I think I did, and it was terrible. Is Apache 3 the one that still has no ground in MAME? Or is Apache 3 the one that works? So here we have incredibly ugly Seta driver graphics. One day from out of nowhere. So the graphics are ugly. I will help you. I've played this before because you've got your two playing gameplay, I remember now. You can do back plane or forward plane. And it's like if a really bad version of the Gladiator, the Taito game, was mixed with Fatal Fury. I'm not sure. It's not the best. Yeah, I think Tatsumi's Lock-On's the one that has the ground emulator where Apache 3 doesn't. I might have covered Apache 3 on the badly emulated game stream. I can't remember. I think it was on my shortlist for that. I don't know. She is from the Ministry of Silly Walks. I'm assuming she wasn't naked then, but the sprite work is so bad I can't actually tell. And that's my excuse. You can knock down chandeliers though. I'm glad it was a really popular game though, that lots of people tried to clone. Is she naked now? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be playing this game. Is she even... I can't tell. The graphics are that bad. Should this be immature.ini? Is this immature.ini? These are questions that need to be answered. Is this worth playing? Probably not. It's just really bad. Yeah, many games on Seta hard with the 5-second music loops, you are correct. I'm always like, quite a lot of them have got this rocky type music and it just, it is really bad. I don't think they're going to be Street Fighter 2 voices, because it came out 89. But yeah, because that's what people do when they jump in a pit of spikes. They explode. It should be an awful enemy. Yes, it really should. So many of the Seta Driver games should be. It's slightly... It's almost as bad as a lot of the games we had on the Amiga. I really don't know why so many of the Seta Driver games just feel like bad Euro platformers and shooters. But they do. It kind of wants to be a bit Shinobi-ish with the, you know, single direction scrolling, multi-layered, jump up, jump down. But it fails to do that even because you can't jump up there. I don't know. But it is like Gladiator became a platform game and just became terrible. It does look like a bad Amiga game. That's what I'm saying, a lot of the Seta Driver games do. It's amazing how you don't expect this ugly graphics and ugly gameplay from Japanese arcade games, but it happened. How am I to time this? Every time there's big spikes there. This is just like, I'm gonna die. Oh no, there's a platform there that was in the background. The graphics are so ugly I couldn't tell there's a background there. A platform there. I don't think Capcom were going to be using sound effects from this. I think we've seen enough. Graphics so bad you can't tell if the game should be immature. Anywhere else. Gameplay again feels like a bad Amiga game. Visuals, audio, bad loop samples. Yeah, that's not a good game in any sense. So we will move on. This wasn't meant to be the terrible game stream. This is just meant to be the games that don't get played very often stream. But there's going to be some overlap in that, I think. What about Baluba-louk no Densetsu in 1986 Able Corp? This is a vertical game. Almost a Carl Hodgett's Hold My Beer level game. It is. Athena also developed Wits, which is just as ugly and is basically just a Tron Light Cycles game. I think, if that's the one I'm thinking of. So this is the kind of Bomb Jack-like one that really seems like a Tekken game. For the record, I can't remember how to play. But I can set up bombs and that's always good. It was developed by Tekken. That makes sense, Aussie guy. I think you mentioned that before actually, but yeah. It feels and looks exactly like a Tekken game. The font is a Tekken font. Am I just meant to be getting the treasure? I'm probably just meant to be getting the treasure. I say the Peeve power-up, just like Bomb Jack there, and it turns them into circular enemies, just like Bomb Jack. It's kind of... Mighty Bomb Jack took the whole Bomb Jack concept and did sort of treasure rooms. And this kind of feels like that, but not quite that. It's sort of the game that maybe Mighty Bomb Jack could have been, or was influenced by. They wanted to combine this with Bomb Jack. I really don't know. We should probably look at Mighty Bomb Jack afterwards too. Yeah, it's got decent gameplay. You've got your spawn counter in the room down there below the spawn. You've got your spawn counter just below the door as well. So you can see how many enemies are going to spawn. Hey Evie, thank you for joining, and I hope work went all right for you. You've missed some absolutely terrible games already, but I'm sure we've got many more to come, and maybe some good ones too. I mean, this one's pretty good. This is developed by Tekken, which I thought it was, and Aussie guy confirmed, for Able Corp. And yeah, you're clearing out the treasure rooms. Maybe there's more to it, but for basic, and then you can light the bombs. One of the funny things with Bomb Jack is the bombs aren't dangerous. They never explode. You're clearing out all these bombs from the level, but they're the most harmless thing in the level. In this case, you're actually lighting the bombs. Oh, I see you can... I see there's a mechanic there I've not quite grasped yet. You can increase the value of the treasure by hitting it from below. So there you go, so you get better treasure. So yes, do Tecmo still own the rights to this, or because it was developed for somebody else, are the rights elsewhere? I'm guessing you can't increase the value of the ones on the bottom then? I'm assuming you're increasing the value of them. But you see, that's where the extra depth comes from, the fact that you can do this below things. And and some of them don't open to the same level. And you can hit the bombs from below as well, which I guess is a strategy for killing enemies other than lighting them. That one shot out things. So there's more to this than meets the eye. And one of the ROMs there is programming by Suzaka Tekken Limited. That makes sense. The jump mechanic feels... I mean, it's obviously not the bomb jack jump because you can't jump as high as you want, but there's something about the gravity that feels similar to... But Able Corp. That's it's not often you see Able Corp. But it does make sense. Say it's exactly like a Tekken game. And you do confirm that. So to light a bomb, you have to jump next to it. I'm just trying to find out if there are any other gameplay mechanics. Because I noticed before I shot out something on the side of one of these. So that one can only open to that degree, that a bomb comes out of it. You can't hit the enemies from below. You can't blow yourself up. You can't jump high up there. I wonder how close the Famicom port is. We're not doing Famicom today. I may have played the Famicom port before, actually. I think it might be one of those where I was going to play the arcade and I played the Famicom port before. That's kind of ringing a bell with me. Give it another credit. But again, this gets completely overlooked. I think it's probably, in this case, the title. I mean, Baluba-louk. It's not something anybody's going to remember. So those ones respawn, they just go into that little pumpkin form when you blow them up? Do they all respawn? Oh, so, no, I see. When you get that... Oh, it's like a bomb, but it's not a bomb. Okay. So, that one doesn't do it. That one doesn't do it. That one does do it. So, like that, I can do that, yeah. That makes sense. And I get a B, which I guess is a bonus item. Am I collecting letters somewhere? Sorry, I'm just learning the different game mechanics at the moment. Because, again, I've not really spent much time with this one. And you see as I'm learning. That one I can't do anything with. That one I can't jump high enough to do. This one, yeah, if you convert it to those things, which is what some of them do, you can go like that, jump next to it. Well, now extra things appear in the playfield. The bombs have turned into... The bombs have turned into teleporters? No, they're not teleporters. They're just secrets. There's a lot more to this game than meets the eye. So... Apparently I've just unlocked, like, teleports in the level. Which is kind of neat. Secret passages, which you'd expect in a 2, so it fits the theme of the game. The discovery of different elements. But again, that's what I mean, more than meets the eye. You find these little secrets in the level. You find you've got the teleports in the level, which you'd expect. Secret passages. Anyway, we'll play this level, or this set of lives, and then we'll move on. But some of them you can't open that much. Those ones you can't. Obviously the ones at the bottom you can't. So I guess you also have to learn that when you're playing the game. Getting the power up from below does nothing. No. collisions are generous. Pardon me. They're fair, you know, if you're too close to an enemy, I think there's maybe an 8x8 box in the middle of your character that collides. So you can brush against the enemies quite easily without being a problem, let's see. Which is good. I mean, I've played plenty of games on these streams where even the collision boxes are bigger than your sprite, which is just terrible. Here, it gives you a chance. Get extra life. Yeah, this should probably be as well known as Bomb Jack, and sadly it's not. There's a C64 version, does she say, with a different name. And again, you can play this just to try and clear things as quickly as you want, or you can try and go for the extra score, extra secrets, extra bonuses. I'm guessing the different colours enemies give you different secrets when you kill them, which is how I got the secret passages, probably from a specific colour. I'm surprised there's no visual indication on the treasure chests as to how far they open, unless I'm just missing it. Beat the high score, which may have been my high score. That was a waste of the power up because they're not spawned yet. That was a complete waste of that one. Okay, I can't see any visual differences in the chests before you've worked out what they can do. And I wasted those. There we go. So, Baluba-louk no Densetsu, which really deserved a proper localization. It's a fun little game developed by Tekken, who did Bomb Jack. And yeah, if you've not played it, play it. I don't know if the next one is one that doesn't get played very often. At least it doesn't by me, but it's an important game for other reasons. So we'll have a look at it. This is Champion Boxing, 1984 Sega. And this was Yu Suzuki's first game for Sega. And, you know, Yu Suzuki developed Outrun and all those famous games. But, yeah, his first game was this, which is one of those really odd cases of home hardware being in the arcades. This is the SG-1000, Sega's Mark I, the machine that came before the Master System. Yet it was an arcade platform too, and it looks really dated for the time it was released in '84. But yeah, this game is really just significant for being Yusuke's first. I mean, he didn't get into the industry quite as early as some of the others. You know, it wasn't like late '70s, early the '80s, I mean, like 1980. It was it took until like just before the mid '80s. And his first game wasn't some spectacular, well-remembered game like Pac-Man. It was Champion Boxing, which apparently he wasn't that fond of working on. But you've got to start somewhere. And I don't think it's a bad game, actually. I've played far worse boxing games. I've played better boxing games. I think my favourite was... Is it Frank Bruno's boxing on the CPC? No, Barry McGuigan. Not Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno was a bad one. Barry McGuigan's boxing on the CPC was my favourite one. You had to manage your boxer, but this is a pretty good fun arcade boxing game. Vic Tokai developed Ajina no Yoken, and it's based on the game. You've got some pretty good fighting mechanics for an early fighting game. You can, you know, you got your run-up hits, you got your uppercuts, you got your jabs. And when most early fighting games are bad, this actually does play alright. Doesn't look great with the flickery graphics, but it's no Punch-Out. This is true. Obviously, Punch-Out's your famous boxing game. Yeah, it's very similar hardware, Johnny. Yeah, the sprite flick is normal. It's not sprites, I think. I think it's actually tiles in this case. Yes, I am the chubby elf in pink shorts. Tells you what moves you've done as well at the bottom. Challenge next level. Now there was another game, Champion Pro Wrestling, which came a year later. I don't think I'll play that one today, but... So yeah, the button cycles between the different attack types. And then your button actually does the attack. Yeah, this is one of those everybody's got to start somewhere games. And yeah, when you consider we wouldn't have the likes of Outrun had you not got into the industry, you kind of have to appreciate this. Even though it's a really simple one-on-one fighter. I think it's... Is it two-player? I can't remember. It has two sets of controls, so I think you can play it as a two-player game. I've never tried that, though. So he won that round. Nope. Moves us straight. And let's knock it off the floor. Maybe it's a little slow pace for an arcade game, a little easy. We'll look at another boxing game shortly though. I'm getting beaten up now. You mean Main Event Wolf has? I think I looked at that on a previous stream. That's the one I'm thinking of. Reminds you of Urban Champion. Yeah, Urban Champion was another early fighting game. One I've encountered on many plug and play units. Usually rethemed with different graphics. So yeah, that was say Champion Boxing. And from that, we'll move on to a different boxing game. We'll move on to a boxing game that I worked on the emulation of a while ago. When I was emulating the Jaleco Mega System 32. With a pre-rendered intro sequence that looks like I've applied the Photoshop filters to it. So BBB, best about unboxing. Like 11 years later. Now I think wraparound is meant to be turned off on the rotation zoom there, so it's not meant to do the multiple copies. But we don't fully understand the Jaleco hardware. So I'm going to be Tamalat Zip, inventor of the zip file. And I don't know who I'm going to be fighting.
In this corner, from Thailand, Tamalat Zip. In this corner, from Australia, Bulliard.
So I'm beating up the Australian guy. Alright. I can do that. I've got very long arms. I'm sure that's a legal boxing move. There's probably more to this. Now there are still a few Mega System 32 games that are not dumped and are lost, including a fighting one, which I can't remember the title of right now. But at this point I think we just assume that it was never released and all the screenshots we've got are just from pre-release footage. Super Strong Warriors, was it called? Something like that. Yeah, arcade boxing games. I don't know. Are there any that are genuinely good beyond Punch Out? I think people like Sega's Taito Fight, but that doesn't run well in MAME at the moment. Taito's Final Blow was kind of average and ended up home ported as was it James Buster Douglas Boxing or something? I don't know. Anybody got any opinions on the best arcade boxing games other than Punch Out? Nice perspective on the ring graphics when you're walking around the ring. The ropes move around, but other than that, I'm kind of reminded of the visuals on the Mega Drive game Tough Man Contest. That's got a very close-up ring and crowd. I don't think there's any depth to the controls here. I seem to have my 3 moves.
Interval. Judgment.
You think the... Are you saying the 1978 boxing game was a good boxing game, Wolfaz? Or are you just saying it's a boxing game that existed? The Konami one. What's the Konami one? There is a Taito boxing game. Is it Primetime Fighters, Johnny? Ring Fighter. You like Ring Fighter? Ring Fighters is one of those where at least one of the versions got colour-based protection on the colours of the sprites. Can't remember if that's the Gunfight version or the Ring Fight version. Irem had Pound for Pound 2, which was the overhead boxing game. But that requires complex controls. Sega had Funky Headbox on STV, and that's just dreadful. I don't know. It's surprising that Punch Out is such a well-remembered game when the genre as a whole is not one that spawned many great arcade games or memorable arcade games. Hard Puncher, Gunfight's the colour protection issues. Yeah, it's a strange thing to protect. Was Hard Puncher known as anything else outside of Japan, or was that the export name? This seems to be quite a rare game though, and I'm just mashing my way through it, so this feels almost like... almost unfinished. It doesn't feel well balanced. My nose hurts. Congratulations.
In this corner, from Thailand,
Any idea if they copied fighters? They may have been influenced by Fatal Fury with Faz. I don't think they outright copied them. Also, I think my extra long arms feel rather dull to me, but not stretchy. But obviously, this as a game, this feels weaker than the champion boxing one. It just feels a bit button mashy and presentation's alright, but I'm a loser. How did I lose with my long reach like that? Retirement. It's not continue, it's retirement or continue. I will retire. Zip is based on one of the Success Joe characters. Wouldn't surprise me, Johnny Bond. But yeah, it's an overlooked boxing game that I think, again, I can see maybe why it gets overlooked. You just end up mashing buttons and winning, and there didn't seem to be much depth to it unless I just missed like more complex controls. You know, I was trying to do half circles like you would in Street Fighter, and all I was getting was the same moves. I may have to look at Hard Punch another time because we've just done 2 boxing games, but it's something to consider anyway, Carlo. Right, I'm actually going to go back to a game I played on a previous stream and see if I can get a bit further in it. Because I didn't give it much of a try. So we're going to go back to Gaelco's Touch and Go. Because I played a bit of this and then sort of just quit out of it. So I want to see if I can actually win a few matches on this. Let's turn the volume down a little bit because this is a bit louder. Now this is the one where the samples appear to be just a drum kit. But there you go.
Touch and Go.
That seemed like a bad SNES game with better hardware. Yeah, unfortunately you're right, Bob. I mean, the Mega System 32 does have some good games. Desert War is a really good game that I may have to play more of. I didn't think quite qualify for this game because I think people do know, for this stream, because I think people do know Desert War, and I have played a fair bit of it myself. Whereas this is one of those Jaleco games where, despite working on the emulation of it, I barely played it. So it's been the Panthers in Germany.
First match.
That'll be that one. So this just seems too simple.
First set.
The final round. That's what it's called. Right. That's the title I recognise it as.
Okay. 11.
So, like most volleyball games, this starts on a score of like 11-11. I think it's to keep the matches short, because if you were doing it all the way from a score of 0, it would take forever.
Okay. 13. 11.
Now, I do notice there's still some video issues with this. The shadows should not cancel out other shadows as we see at the moment. The ball will cancel out the shadows that are there. The shadow of the ball will cancel out the other ball shadow. Very odd. I don't quite know why that happens. I'll have to have a look at the code at some point.
11.
Because, like most sprite hardware, I'm assuming you can only have one shadow. You can't have shadows shadowing shadows. But I don't know why a shadow would cancel out a shadow. That must be some odd implementation detail. It might be something to do with the lighting effect for World Rally 2. But obviously it's not quite right here. And if you look at original footage, the ball shadow does not cut holes in other shadows.
Second set.
But yeah, I think to do the special moves, you have to keep going for a long time without actually winning a point. But on the first stages, that never happens. Either the computer will beat you, or you'll beat the computer before it gets to the stage of anybody doing a special move, which does make this game feel a bit dull. I don't know if, like, later on, when the computer's a bit better, you end up with longer rallies and more special moves. again, you see, before I had a chance to do a special move. Yeah, that's what was said last time. They must be the default sound effects of a keyboard, or just default sound effects of a sound library. But they are very much the default instruments of a keyboard, aren't they? I mean, many Amiga sound libraries had similar. You had your basic drum sounds and found them in games.
Ball.
Yeah, I think as volleyball games go, Power Spikes was always the more popular one. Oh.
14, 12. Match
Maybe because
ball.
Power Spikes was on the Neo Geo, but there are other volleyball games that I think are alright. Data East have got a pretty good one. What is it? Something Volleyball 95.
14, 13.
World something Volleyball 95.
Match ball.
Even the Comad hack of Power Spikes is pretty good, and we know what Comad are like. Now I can do a super spike if I get it. So this is where it gets to the super move. Except I don't get a chance to because I missed it.
14.
So, is it 3 back and forths before you can do a super move?
15.
V-Ball, yeah, Technos V-Ball was good.
Match ball.
As was their dodgeball games, Technos did some alright sports games, which again feel very much like Double Dragon but sports.
15. 15.
Pay attention.
Set ball.
Obviously, I've never been the biggest fan of volleyball. It's not a sport we seem to play much here.
50.
I get to play against
Second
Brazil.
match.
Yeah, they were related to River City Ransom. But I mean, not in just visuals, in terms of the actual programming and how they play. They all feel like they're based on a similar code base, a similar game engine, just with the mechanics changed around.
11.
Kunio Kun series, correct. Bad player. But it's like, I mean, I've said before, the WWF Superstars also feels like it's got a very similar game engine. Technos did like that game engine and basing games around it. And maybe one of the games we'll look at in a bit is one of the times Technos changed that. I'm not sure. Depends if we have time. But again, I've not managed to trigger a super move. I got very close to triggering a super move, but then I messed up the shot. Now, I have been experimenting a little bit with the sound emulation here.
13.
As you may have noticed, the sounds aren't cutting out all the time now. I may submit that, I may not. I'm not convinced by the changes, but at the same time, they work. The current way the Gaelco sound emulation is handled is there are 7 sound channels and there are 2 chunks for each sound channel, and one of them is being used as a loop chunk. But this game writes regular samples to the loop chunk and expects them to play instantly even if the sample's disabled. So the logic's not quite right there. They're not dedicated loop chunks, they're something else. And the way I've implemented it here does seem to work for all the games,
Set ball.
but I'm not entirely sure about it. I think it's less of a hack than the current implementation, but I don't know, it's so difficult to get anything accepted these days in terms of submissions, so
Set ball.
it's like you have to be able to prove that's how it worked even though you're guessing things, which is annoying. So we'll see, I might just have to leave it. But another reason I wanted to play it is to test that.
15.
Yeah, the sports games were always Double Dragon or Kaneko based. In terms of the themes, yes. I mean, I've got one on the PlayStation 3 over there somewhere, which is just looks like an 8-bit game on the PlayStation 3. I don't know if I can see it on the shelf.
11, 12.
So it's like about... Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I've got on the PlayStation 3.
11,
River City Super Sports Challenge. It's like about a 10 meg game on a disc. I'm not complaining, it's on a disc. Which is better than being a download. Yeah, I mean, they did the Combat Tribes too, which was a very similar thug theme, wasn't it? Anyway, I'll save state this and play it another time, because, again, I'm getting more of an idea now of how to trigger the special moves, and I know if I'm on two-screen mode, the special move can trigger a glitch, so it's one of those games I want to play a bit more of, especially with somebody in the chat was saying that it crashes on the third match, which means I'll have to get to the third match and try and crash it. But we'll see. But yeah, anyway, other overlooked games. So, we have a Zilec game. We have Checkman. Now, this is a game that seemed to have versions on the Spectrum that were super popular. But yeah, you've got to use Start 1 and Start 2. But it's quite odd to see it in the arcade. So you can slide the tiles left and right with your start buttons. So you've got to get the flags, basically. Not the boot. The boot is the enemy. Classic death sound. You see, you can use the start buttons to slide the tiles around, so you can plan your moves by sliding the tiles. It's very much sort of your ZX Spectrum type game, and you've got to get the bomb down there that's counting down. And that one that's counting down. And go up here and get this one. Don't think we can go... We can wrap though, so... So you have to slide the rows around so you can actually get to where you need to go. Yeah, developed by Zenitone for Zilec. And it was published in Japan by Jaleco. I don't think the Japanese version's dumped, is it? Because I remember seeing things that said the Japanese version had different visuals. So I forgot you could actually go around the edge of the playfield. So yeah, if you played, what was it called on the Spectrum? Something like Mr. TNT. It's a game I grew up with, and I was really surprised it had an arcade version. Now, what you absolutely don't want to do is make it so there's no route through on any of the rows, because then you have to rely on the wrapping, and then you're in trouble. So the graphics are ugly, and the gameplay is slightly awkward, but it's a kind of a famous concept, at least if you've played games on the 8-bit systems here. Now, I don't know if the home versions came first and were based on this, if it's like another Hunchback situation where Hunchback was super popular, so it got ported here. Beware of the deadly clown shoes, yes. Or just clowns in general. I mean, I could do a clown stream and find out how many games with clowns in them, but that'd probably just scare people, and we'd have to play Snacks and Jackson again, which would scare me. So the cutscenes, very Pac-Man-like cutscenes. I guess eventually you'll get far enough to clear all 4 boots on the cutscene. So, come to me, bomb. That's also a strategy. Also avoid the skull and crossbones, although that's probably kind of obvious. So don't slide the skull and crossbones into you, because that is also death. But yes, Zilec, were they a UK developer? I think they were a UK developer, weren't they? I think we've seen an address on one of their games. It was actually fairly close, I think. I can't remember where it was, but I seem to remember the address being fairly close to where I am. Midlands area. Was it in like Stafford or Burton or somewhere like that? I don't know. Yeah, it's a strange game. It's very much, let's say, a European 8-bit computer game that somehow was ended up being licensed to Jaleco for the arcades in Japan. But then again, say Jaleco did have quite a few licensed games working with the likes of Zilec and Ashby. Yeah, that. Apparently you can walk on empty tiles if they're on the edge of the map, which is kind of odd. I'm not sure that's meant to be how it works, but that's how this version is programmed. I'm pretty sure walking on an empty space is meant to be instant death, but here, if they're at the edge of the map, you can walk on them. I'm assuming you can't slide. Oh, you can slide over the empty tiles too. That's... So that's not how I remember the gameplay mechanics of this working, but that's how this version works. Yeah, Blueprint, Saturn, Graspin, Checkman, Dingo. If Graspin was actually released at all, that feels very prototype-like, Aussie guy. And we only found one board in Italy, and it's like, was it released, was it not? Who knows? Who knows? It's one of those games with easy and obvious ways to glitch the game, which is always kind of a prototypey sign, because it looks like the game was never fully tested because they're so obvious somebody should have found it. But then again, we've talked about Atari's Blasteroids and how you can easily just glitch that by not taking a warp zone. And every Atari Blasteroid you can glitch in the same way. And softlock even. So even if you continue playing on another credit, you can softlock any Blasteroid you find, which is not good. Okay, you can't walk over the edge onto a skull and crossbow and that will still kill you. But you can onto a blank tile, which is kind of odd. But 82 Zilec-Zenitone. There are other Zilec games as well that we might not play on the stream, but may play on a different stream. I like how it gives details of how to get to letters when entering your high score name, even though I'd ignore them. But yeah, anyway, Checkman. Actually quite a fun playable game if you like your very British games. Let's play another Taito shooter. This is Extermination. This is a vertical one. I don't know if this was developed by Hot B as well. Kind of feels very similar to the Hot B games. Let's see what we're drinking. Also looks a little bit like a futuristic Legendary Wings in terms of the sprite art. For some reason, I don't know, I think it's just the poses. It's a little bit quiet, let's maybe turn it up. You think this one's bad? I don't expect it's the pickup sound effect, to be honest. I don't know why these poses remind me of Legendary Wings. Oh, you can walk in the water. Jaleco even released a CVS system in Japan. Oh dear. I'm sure the Japanese audience did not enjoy that. I mean, we barely did here. Aside from Hunchback, which most people think is terrible and is famous, the CVS games, there's quite a few CVS games on my list. I'm assuming that therefore there may be possibly CVS Japanese versions that are not dumped. So I'm picking these up and getting them live. I'm working through pulls. So you're always getting energy by picking things up, so hits don't kill you, but they drain your energy. But you constantly get energy back by picking things up. Except don't pick the wrong things up, because that kills you. I missed the stairs. I often fall upstairs, so I do often miss stairs. Let's play again. Rock Destroyer. Are you familiar with this one, Bob? Or were the stairs just that obvious that I should have seen? At least don't trip over the tree logs, as I've seen in some games. Every time you see a log in a game, your instinct is to avoid it because you think it's just going to be super deadly. Oh, there's some stairs. Let's go down the stairs. This room's boring. Oh, I can shoot that. Now it's turned into alien. Let's leave the room. The sound effects are too loud, are they? Sorry, I turned it off. I didn't realise it was too loud. The game seems to start off very quiet, so I've turned it down a bit now. Is that better? Sometimes it's really hard to judge these things. Because to me this game is really quiet, but yeah, the sound effects are quite loud, you're right. I'm kind of judging on the music volume. Makes you want to think of Adventures of Dino Riki from Hudson Soft and King's Knight from Bits. I've not played either of those, Aussie guy. Are they games that are worth playing, or are they games that are best avoided? Okay, those things drain your health very quickly. The music does feel like a very short loop, but it's not sampled loop, it just feels like a very short FN synth loop, but it just changed key slightly. King Knight with a K. What platform was that on, Aussie guy? Nothing in there. I guess I'm meant to get out of these rooms before those things come and get me. They're just you're taking too long time. So it's an interesting energy-based life system, but your energy just gets drained really quickly if you're not careful. There. And there's one. Also has MSX1 version. Again, it's one I'll have to try and remember to check out. Because I'm sure there are better ways of implementing this idea than what we've got here. Are the red ones bad? I've not even worked that out yet. I'm that busy avoiding things. Yeah, you just get your energy zapped to zero while you're trying to work out what's going on in the game. I can see why this is one I've played much of. I think I tried to play it like back in the day in Rain, because Rain did all these 8-bit Taito games, and I think I just gave up with it then. Who developed this though? Yeah, I noticed the top high score entry is Can. I don't know if that's anything Kaneko. There's far more colours and power-ups in the attract mode that I've not managed to get. Do those come into play later? Or do you have to kill things in certain ways? I don't know. I felt I didn't really experience much of the game there. It's one that I want to like. It's one that I see. I watch this attract mode and I see this creature made up of all these different parts, and it really appeals to me. And then I try and play the game, and it doesn't. Okay, so that tells me a few things on the attract mode that I maybe have missed. Search Goggle, not Search Google. It's 100% Taito. It doesn't feel like a first-party Taito game. Especially not... I mean, it's quite a late release as well. Late 80s. Well. Okay. I'm not sure this one is lesser played, but it might be. Sigma and New York. Personally, I quite enjoy this one. I think I've played it on stream before. Although it's very, very basic in the sense that the strategy is always just to try and blow this portal up before it vanishes, and I've failed. That's how you get your points. But as early space shooters go, there is a certain appeal to this one to me. It was also released as Arcadia in Japan with a different background. Taito did make some bad games. Even Taito's... I really hate Don Doku Don, and that seems to be a popular Taito game. And that one that they're proud of and keep putting in compilations. So yeah, you blow up the portal and you get the UFO, you get some more points. Looks like Plides. Plides is probably a better game, to be honest. This is the downfall of this is the controls can be really quite unresponsive at times. The fire, especially, which is never good. But at the same time, there's just something fun about it. It can be quite relaxing to play. I don't know. But after a while, though, there's just so many enemies you can't possibly blow up the portal, so that seems to defeat the whole game mechanic. Unless I'm just missing something. It just seems to disappear too quickly, and you can't get shot in. So how am I meant to make that go white when my firing rate is fixed at this, and I can't get near it? It was released by World Games and Romstar. World Games is one of those companies that have such a generic name that they're completely forgettable. I think they also published some the Alpha games, didn't they? Manhattan is floating in space, yes. There was apparently a subway explosion, and rather than just the manhole shooting up into space, the whole city did. But yeah, this is quite a famous game, I think, because while it doesn't seem to get played much these days, before it was emulated, a lot of people requested it. It was one of the most requested games prior to it being emulated, which kind of surprises me. But I guess it must have just been in some very prominent locations that people remember. Or maybe it's just the iconic Statue of Liberty visual that people remember. And the title being New York, New York. You really enjoyed it, did you, Wolfaz? It's very simple, but it does have an addictive quality to it. It's So it's a bit like Speak and Rescue in that sense. Very simple, but there is strategy to the colour of the enemies and things like that too. I mean, at the moment I'm just blasting it, but if you can shoot the enemies when they're white, I think you get more points for them. I think all UFOs should have UFO printed on them, just like that. It makes life much easier. Yeah, there's some nice attack patterns. And then you do get these waves moving in different directions. Unfortunately, current versions of MAME do glitch at the side during these diagonal patterns. I don't know if that's just a case of the original monitor wouldn't display the side, because that often happened, or if it's a genuine emulation glitch in current versions. I think I discussed that last time I played it too, actually. But of course, we can't really play that without playing the Japanese version. And again, I think every time I play that, I'll fire this version up too, because this version is the same game, but the version that was done for Japan with a different theme. You haven't been to New York, so that is accurate. I don't think New York is the most welcoming place for cows. As you can see, it's the same game without New York. Now, it's probably a shame the original version doesn't actually just change the pictures throughout the game, because that adds something, but again, we are dealing with an early game and it's quite a big image and limited ROM capacity. But maybe if New York is a game that gets played a lot, this clone is one that doesn't, and the different visuals give it a slightly different feel. That's Captain Harlock, most likely unlicensed. Yeah, licensing wasn't the strong point back in the day, was it? So, I don't know. I'm sure Aussie Guy would know if it was licensed or not. World Games released the 20th Mission 660 for Electro Design replaced Taito, Curry Kinta for Taito, The Lost Castle for Dark Mist for Cebu, and Run Deep for replaced. Were there no Alpha 68K games? I thought there was it Kairos I thought was World Games, or was it Super Stingray? I thought there were a few in there. But maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Or maybe World Games was just a bootlegger's name as well. I missed it. So we are 2 hours 20 minutes-ish into the stream. We're going to keep going. Probably do the 3 hours today, not too much later. Because I do tend to like to just fall asleep to Big Clive live when he's streaming on a Saturday, which I'm assuming he will be. And I missed too much of it. I've streamed for too long. There we go. Nice big point bonus there. Kairos, that's the one. That's actually one that's on my potential list for today, but I don't know if I want to play it. It's one of those that I always look at on the list and go, I don't really want to play it. Which is a bit of a problem when you're covering games you don't play very often. Some of them you don't play very often because you don't want to play them. A weird movie tie-in. Yes, as I say, possibly unlicensed. But yes, that is a Japanese take on New York, New York. I think New York was also released in Japan, but that was the UFO says ouch. Well, I would say ouch if you shot me too, unless I died, in which case I wouldn't say ouch because I'd be dead. But I'm going to play one that I actually like but never get around to playing much on stream. That is Raiga, Strato Fighter, a Tecmo game from '91. My Youth Arcadia. I said Raiga. I thought it said Raiga. Should I just say Strato Fighter? So, yeah, this is one I emulated where I was extracting the protection data. I don't think the protection MCU is dumped yet. I think it's still simulated. No, it says emulated, unless that's just place. Maybe it's emulated now. No, it says no dump on the MCU, so that would just be a placeholder for when it gets hooked up. So the MCU isn't dumped on this yet, but it returns jump table addresses and the like. Launch. Now visually, I really like this one. Music. It's one of the games that uses blending effects, and I'll always remember for that. You can swap directions to fire as well. Oh yeah, the tune as well. You can't forget the tune on this. It always reminds me a bit of a Konami tune. In fact, this feels like a very Konami-like game to me. I guess it's because it feels maybe like a Gradius game, but it's not. Ignore my completely inability to play the game, the fact that I'm now completely underpowered. And again, it's one of those with interesting enemy patterns. Like these ones are grouped together until you shoot them, in which case they detach from each other and become more of a problem than if you just not shot them. You believe the Thundercross 2 composer did this music? That might make sense why it sounds like a Konami game. I don't know. There's just something about it. Yeah, it feels like Salamander Life Force. Unfortunately, if you lose your pouch, you are super slow until you get them back, and you do take a long time to get them back. That is one of the issues. Very Taito-like warning too. See a blending effect there, shadow effect and blending on the boss as the boss appears. A laser that gives you a chance to see it coming. That's a rarity. Slow laser. Just like my ship, slow. Yeah, it is really good. I don't think it's super unpopular, but it's just not one I see many people playing. Yeah, when you lose your pouch, so you are in trouble. If I'd got all my pouch then at that boss would have been simple. But unfortunately, 100% Konami orchestra hits. Yeah. We worked on this game and Thundercross too. It does just feel like a Konami game that's not a Konami game. Slow laser might still be able to kill me though. Anyway, I probably messed this up by losing my pouch too early on, unfortunately. It is still doable, but it's just much more time consuming like this. But I do want to get to the second level where the nice blending effects happen. Unfortunately, my slow speed means I have to get out of the way before getting the hits I want to get in. That's disabling its ability to fire missiles at me, but I've got trapped up there again. I don't know, maybe I should restart the stage, unfortunately. It's one of those horizontal shooters, much like R-Type, where if you mess it up, you're in trouble. Yeah, I think if I restart the stage and keep my power-ups, I'm much better off there. Because I've easily got to level 2 before. Unless the clone set's easy. I think there's a clone set. Let's try and not die early on. Otherwise you're just making life much more difficult. Unfortunately, it is one of the problems with a lot of shoot 'em ups. If you die, it's not always even worth continuing. Also worked on Castlevania Rondo of Blood. Again, that's one with a good soundtrack, isn't it? Same PCB as Shadow Warriors. Yeah, very similar PCB as Shadow Warriors, if not identical. But looks much better. Yeah, it's one of the ones that, when I emulated it, I was really happy to get it working. Sending one of those where I had to send tests to run on the PCB that displayed loads of numbers on the screen, had to enter those numbers. I seem to recall it didn't seem to want to give the right data until the right moments in the game, so I had to get the person with the PCB to play the game until the point where it would crash with the wrong jump value, but print the jump value on the screen instead of taking it. I think I downgraded my weapon for the boss. I'm not sure that's a good idea. This is where I just die again, isn't it? We'll see. Yeah, Wildfang is another one. Wildfang was another one I was considering playing. I think Wildfang's maybe a bit... Now you see how quickly they go down when they've got proper weaponry. This is why you don't want to lose your paths. Much easier if you don't die during the level. Like so many shoot 'em ups. Space potatoes. Hey Dink, welcome, I hope you're doing well. How's Final Burn going? But yes, possibly the most Konami-like shooter that's not from Konami. I'm just trying to concentrate because I know death is bad in this game. I mean, death is bad in general, but especially in this game. The game runs well too, there's not too much in the way of slowdown. Maybe it's the third level that uses the blending more. Thought it was the second, but it's been a while since I've played this properly. And that's what I'm saying, I like this, but I really didn't play enough of it. I got it emulated, and then I really enjoyed getting emulated, but I was also a bit burnt out emulating it. And then just never sunk the hours into enjoying it, which sometimes happens when you do an emulation. Yeah, this is your big mothership stage, isn't it? Many shooters have them. Undercross 2 has the same credit sound effect, so the sound design really is pretty much just Thundercross 2. Lots borrowed. I guess that was the style of that composer. Now look where I am. I've got mini versions of all my weapons. That is why I'm in trouble now. You just get so underpowered after one death. It's quite bad. Can I still do it? We'll see. Just one of those don't die games, basically. Maybe that's why it doesn't get played as much as it should do. Yep, let's go back to my save state. Right, so we've been playing this a bit longer than I wanted to, but let's see what we can do with it. Yeah, so this is probably one of the choices that was only on a maybe on my list anyway, though, because I think it is one people are more likely to know and one I have spent a bit more time with, just not an exceptional amount of time. But you have to throw in some good ones on these streams, otherwise they really are just terrible at times. You know, I want people to actually have a reason to watch the streams other than seeing me die in many games. But I think it does underpower you a bit too much when you die, unfortunately, which means unless you're going to try and one credit it, then let's see, with proper weaponry the bosses go down easy. Without it, they don't. Maybe with 2 players it'd be easier. I don't know. This is where we start getting the organic blending and everything, I think. Which is pretty impressive for the time once you start to see it. Here we go, you see you've got this jelly stuff that's all blended. And again, very salamandery, isn't it? See, this is quite an impressive piece of hardware to do these palette effects. It's not proper alpha blending, but it modifies the palette value, and the palette is much bigger than the you know, the usual display colours, so it adds a value to the palette which moves it into the different colours. And you can see the jelly stuff slows your ship down as well, so it's not just visual, it actually has an effect on your movement. Oh dear. I was too busy showing that and crashing to the side. Yeah, if you play one game from this stream, I would recommend this one. If you've not played it before. Yeah, also a bit heavy unit you're out as a guy. Again, the soundtrack is just so good. Unfortunately, so I've lost my main weapon speed up, and it just gets hard now. I don't think it's ever unfair, but it just it really pushes you once you've lost things. Feels more like an R-type to you. Once I die here and have to continue, we'll move on anyway, because I've been playing this one for longer than I probably need to. That's probably... no, it's not quite yet. Oh, they're homing. I need some speed ups. That one. Didn't need the speed up that much. A tool of Ghosts and Goblins. I'm lucky to get past the first level on Ghosts and Goblins. Nice long high score names. So I'll be lots of A's. But yes, a Tecmo game from 91. Good looking one, very playable. Uses all sorts of palette effects, blending effects, great audio. Really deserves to be played more than it gets played, I think. To me, it's one of the classic arcade shooters of the 90s. But I don't decide these things. So shall we go with something a little less flashy? Let's go with Perfect Billiard by Neon System, which is pool. Good start. Lost ball. Hey Steven, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. You have tuned in for the boring pool game where your cue ball is apparently red, because that's exactly how pool works. This is obviously Pool the Red Nose Day edition. Comic relief. If you didn't get enough comic relief from my overall playing of games. To be fair, this is not actually a bad pool game. That's probably why I wanted to play it. I mean, everybody will talk about Pocket Gal, and yeah, Pocket Gal offers more control over the ball. But this and Kaneko's Billiard are games I'd rather play. That's ball is Snack and Jackson's nose. Possibly. Maybe we have a bit of a tie in here. But it's just a case of pressing the button and it's the power we want, which is the opposite of Billiard, which has a ridiculously complex control system. Yes, okay, You've done well. I really haven't. It's a clone of Lunar Pool / Lunar Ball. A little bit. I mean, you do get these non-standard pool tables as well, which again, you'd miss if you. I think they should have, done the first level like this, because if you don't realise, you're just going to think it's just yet another pool game with nothing different about it. But the levels are different. They offer these odd-shaped tables, which actually makes it more interesting to play than just pool. I know there was a PlayStation 1 game that did similar, had lots of crazy pool tables. And it was so much more fun than just playing pool. But while things like Pocket Gal are slow and clunky, this has actually got quite a fast paced gameplay to it. It's more immediate, the balls float around smoothly. Yeah, it's not going to be accurate physics. And yeah, you can very easily die. Alright, Evie, good night. Take care. I'll catch you in the morning. Yeah, low friction, lunar pool like. But very playable. Using full power is not always your friend in this one. Knowing how much power to apply gets you a bit further. Not hitting the ball into the pockets, your cue ball into the pocket also does. But yes, I should probably ask that clown if he would like his nose back. Yeah, classic game with a small twist, and it just makes it a bit more interesting. Why am I so good at potting the one I'm not meant to pot though? I mean, it's the same in real pool. I'm an expert at potting the cue ball. Trick shot. It is a little bare bones. Once again, full power is not your friend. It's amazing how badly I can do, isn't it? Yeah, Lunar Pool, Taphoid. I think Aussie guy mentioned it. Yeah, it's a bit like Lunar Pool from Compile, but in arcade form with some slightly better graphics than this game. And again, I don't think many people play it because the first impression you get is it's just pool. It doesn't really give away its secret that it's got these different layouts on, your first play. But it does. Every level is a different layout, which is what makes it a game rather than just, oh, it's another pool. It's another clone of pool. It actually makes it worth playing. Yeah, you can't control the spin. You can't. You can't put backspin on your ball to stop it in its tracks. You can't put forward spin on it. It's very basic. This is by Nihon System, so unless Compile developed for Nihon System, I don't think so. But again, Aussie guy. But it's good to see you anyway, Taphoid. Thank you for joining. Everybody is welcome, and thank you for the work you do on handling many of the more overlooked sides of MAME. The testing, regression testing. If I find a bug, I can always say, do you know when that first started happening? And you usually give me a good answer. And that's always important because, I do find plenty of bugs on these streams. That was never going to work, was it? Maybe we'll do it with a little less power. That works. That doesn't work. The physics are interesting. Memory does that. Anyway, I think we've seen enough of Perfect Billiard. Again, the fact it's just called Perfect Billiard just hides the fact there's anything else to it, I think. Okay. Got so many games in this list. I've literally got a list of about 200 games here to pick from. Right. Okay, this is the one I want to show something interesting. Right. Janpai Puzzle Choukou, I'm sure I pronounced that perfectly correctly, is a CPS2 game from Mitchell, so it's probably not unheard of. It's also a mature indie game. There's some graphics. I mean, I'm playing on the latest build, Taphoid, so I'm a bit surprised there. Right, so in a Japanese CPS2 games, the service mode is typically in Japanese. However, if you use the region cheat on it, even though the game doesn't run in any other language, if you set the region to USA, the actual service mode changes to English, which is kind of handy. Which means I can identify the setting that says Gal mode and turn it off. Did I say Bob's final lap? Probably not. But you see, Bob, here I have turned... Oh, Bob, mature.ne. Yes, I did say that, Bob. I get what you're saying. You see, I can turn the Gal mode off, which means that this is now a streamer-friendly game. Hopefully. Which is kind of an odd thing. So the tips which set the region setting cheat has no effect on the actual game language. It's only released in Japan. But it does make navigating the service menu easier. So there you go. This is quite a quiet one, actually, I think. If it gets too loud, let me know. But I think it even takes the Gal pictures out of the intro. So if you're not sure if it's running Gal mode, just let this part play. And if there are no Gal pictures, it's not in Gal mode. You see, no Gal pictures. So we're in family-friendly mode. Most Nihon system games seem to be by Eagle. Their name is in the graphic data for Gigas 2. On the PCB serial sticker for Gigas. So this is a tile matching game. But the twist is... which we'll see shortly. The pieces slowly move close together. So that is basically your tile now. And if you get your matches, it pushes them further apart. So yeah, on one hand it is just a tile matching game. On the other hand, it's got a twist. And you know what I'm like for games with twists. I'll always try and highlight them and how they differ. And, you know, just because a game is in a genre that might not be the most popular or might be overrepresented with bootleg nonsense from Korea, doesn't mean there aren't also interesting games in that genre. We've looked at one or two of the ones on GNet as well that are pretty good. Vertigo shooter is part of a trilogy with 2 other games. You mean the Data East Cougar ones? Vapor Trail, Roga and Skullfang Zontar. So you can choose your path. Okay, 1B. Yeah, I think as a CPS2 game, this probably does get played a bit more than other puzzle games. Now note, it does highlight where the other pieces are. And also, the pieces can move to block you, so... if you don't do things in time, you can end up being blocked off just because you've taken too long to choose your move. Which is an interesting mechanic. Actually, Yeah, it tells you the ones you can get at first, then it stops telling you. So you see, if I'd left this too long, I won't be able to do that move because the other pieces would block it. So, yeah, they put a really interesting twist on what is otherwise quite a dull genre of puzzle game. Unfortunately, I'm terrible. I can get this one, can't I? Yep. I can match that to there. Now, I probably shouldn't spend too long on this because you'll get bored. I am really bad at these games. Can I get that to... I can't get that to there. There's no route to that one. Is there anything I can do? Can't get that to there either, no. Can't get that to there, no. Can't get that to there. I can get that there, okay. Excellent, I can do that to there. I can't get that to there. No, wait. That's not going to go to there, is it? No, I didn't think it was. You see, the pieces are closing in, and I'm failing. As I often do. I can get this one to that. There we go, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can't do that. You get the idea. It's a very stressful game. I don't know why you play these by choice. They're just stressful. Oh, I can do that first. I can do that to there. This is not what I want to spend my money on in an arcade, just to be stressed out. I love puzzle games, but these ones always really stress me out. Can't do that, can I? No, I don't think I can do this though. Didn't fail. You like the matching games? Yeah, so this is a CPS2 one, so I thought this one was well known, but maybe it's not. I think maybe because it's an adult one, it gets filtered out of some lists. It's not Super Real Mahjong, no. Pool Shot, that's the one, Zontar. That's the one I'm thinking of. Now, another... So... I'm not going to spend much time playing it because I don't know if it's family friendly. But another tile matching game that I've not spent much time with is an Irem one, Hasamu. So I'm going to quickly have a look at this one. But this is an odd one. So you can match across pieces. It's very so I can match across that to get rid of that one, and I can match across that to get rid of that one. And so there's no match for that. So I really want to clear that out of the playfield. There's no match for that or that, so I can clear this one out of the playfield like that. And that one out the playfield like that. And that like that. Then I can slide this one across, I think. Can I not? I can slide that across and then I can match it like that. That's a very odd one. I want to make sure it's family friendly before I actually play any more of that one though, that Irem one. But that is another unique tile matching game that popped up when I was testing things and is well worth checking out, I think, if you can get your head around it and don't mind the Mahjong tiles. Right, I'm going to have to turn off the filters, but this one's been requested a few times. The backgrounds are pretty broken right now, though. Why have I got corrupt background? A corrupt graphic on the background. Okay, this is not rendering properly at all. Why is it not clearing the screen? BGFX doesn't render the background BGFX is not rendering the overlay. Direct 3D is not clearing the front buffer. GDI is probably going to be painfully slow. Yeah, GDI is too slow. OpenGL is painfully slow. Okay, I didn't test this beforehand. Now with BGFX you don't get the overlay. With Direct 3D it's not clearing the front buffer. So everything is leaving trails. This is what regular Direct 3D is doing for me. It's not clearing the layer, so I'm just getting trails on everything. Okay, I can't play Cube Quest. It's not working. No idea. I wanted to play Cube Quest, but apparently Cube Quest is not working for me because Direct 3D mode's not clearing the front buffer and BGFX mode is not rendering the front buffer at all. Never mind. That's a shame. I wanted to play that one. I'm using the very latest. Any MAME news you can tell us that you do not know? Single Gamer Dad. I mean, I'm not aware of any at the moment. It's quite quiet at the moment. I know there's general dumping news that's quite interesting. Things like the original Cassette Vision games have been dumped and need to be emulated, but I don't know a time frame for that. In terms of arcade emulation, anything interesting that's in the pipeline I've shown off here, like I've shown potential Gaelco fixes for the touch and go sound that I was looking at, but I don't know. I've not heard of much interesting going on at the moment that's super secret in the background. But yeah, for some reason I can't play Cube Quest. Direct 3D is broken in one way, BGFX is broken in another, so I think we'll have to just move on from Cube Quest, unfortunately, which is a shame because I did want to play it. Yeah, PPU NES needs a PPU rewrite and APU bug fixes. I mean, anything using the APU interrupt is broken, I've noticed. So let's go vertical. This is a prototype. This is Williams Playball, and I'm going to say I have never played this before.
Playball!
With a title like Playball, you expect a baseball game. This was created by Logical Highs, apparently, in Atlanta. So you're meant to avoid whatever that is, bounce balls, and catch food. Okay. Honestly, no idea what to expect from this one.
Play ball!
Avoid bowling balls. Oh, that's what it is. It's a bowling ball.
Play ball.
It looks a bit like Bully from Bullseye at the top. Yeah, I mean the Mega Drive needs some attention. It really needs, you know, a proper frames, pixel synced VDP emulation. So, yeah, avoid bowling balls. Okay.
Play ball.
So what? I'm a ball, a head ball, a bouncing other. This needs analog controls. This uses joystick controls. Yeah, I think this might be a prototype for a reason. I don't understand why sometimes I actually catch the balls and sometimes I just bounce them. It says I'm meant to bounce them, but or what the people falling down do. So after a certain number of bounces, they disappear. Some prototypes are prototypes for a reason. I know I need to rework the SH6578 Vassal interrupts to work more like the NES one, because the games that are just bootleg NES games on there don't work with my completely game over. Okay. I've not played this before, and
Play ball.
it's not quite up there with Defender and Robotron on the likes, is it? It's not really what you expect from Williams. They probably cancelled this for good reason. Cheering is from Mystic Marathon. For a prototype, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, they probably just reused the effect. So I missed the ball, but it doesn't matter. Or can I not miss too many? I missed 3. Timeout stops all balls.
Play ball.
Oh, if I miss 3, it's timeout. I guess that's... What? Is it because I let the person jump down? It doesn't make much sense is the main problem. I don't think there's any buttons, it just seems to be left and right. So I have to go under the people to stop them. Okay. Not Williams' best. No, it's not, Stephen. You like it, Dink. Avoid bowling balls. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the bowling balls. But I'm not quite sure what else I'm meant to be doing. I mean, there's all these things I'm meant to be catching, but I've barely seen any of them. Same with bouncing. I've only seen the planet. So there must be more to this game that I've not yet encountered.
Play ball.
Yeah, this... So I go over the base. I think I have to go over the bases to stop anybody getting on them. Because it wants to be a mix of baseball and avalanche. If I miss food, does that count against me? It's a very odd concept that doesn't quite work. At least it doesn't work unless... Maybe it works once you understand it. I've literally never played this before. I didn't know it was in MAME until I was looking up things for this stream and thought, I've never played that. I can't remember seeing anybody ever play that. I've never watched anybody play that. Even, you know, in all the videos of people trying to get high scores in games, I've never once seen this played. Maybe I now understand why. You fail if people get on the bases too, yeah. Oh, now I get the different balls. Except I still think it's going to be baseball themed, even though now I'm playing with other balls. Avoid bowling ball. I mean, it needs analog controls. It doesn't have analog controls. That is one major failing of this. It's designed for a joystick. Oh. Left and right. Those are your input. It uses left and right joystick. That is it. So yeah. If you go over the bases, they clear. If you don't go over them in time, people jump on them. Avoid ball. I know to avoid bowling balls. Thank you. Don't collect bowling balls. Game over. It was quite a process. I mean, apparently I'm in first place. I use a startman to enter my initials, of course I do. Okay, probably not one I'm going to be coming back to, if I'm quite honest. You have to get going. Alright, well, thank you for joining, Dick. It's always good to see you. Take care, and hopefully I'll catch you on another one. Yeah, drugs, lots of drugs, probably, Bob. That is probably accurate. Oh, we are over 3 hours now. Let's put on another one to disappoint Bob. Sadari by Duyong. Now, it's got lots of goals here. It's also got tip switchers that have an option that says dress, dress, dress. Don't select dress, 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 because dress, dress, dress apparently is not dress, dress, dress. It's undress, undress, undress. Even though in service mode it says dress, dress, dress. So I don't know if the video banking's wrong or the service mode is wrong. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm not in full screen mode, proper screen mode. Let's fix that. But, yeah, dress, dress, dress in the tip switches is not dress, dress, dress. Girl show point, I don't know what is. Anyway, maybe this needs looking at. Yes, I found that dress half half seems to be safe. Seems to be. Now NTC licensed this from Duyong. NTC being Japanese, Duyong being Korean. Maybe there's a Korean version that has different settings and service mode wasn't updated. But anyway, it's a columns type game where you catch the pieces from this weird arrangement where they move down like another game. And that means there's multiple pieces in play at the whole time. And it's a bit loud as well, isn't it? I can tell that's a bit loud. And the problem is that because they move along these lines, they feel like they're moving in a random direction. And it's telling you the scores all over there, if you can be bothered to read them while you're playing. And overall, this game is confusing. It kind of makes me wonder if there was a connection between Duyong and Eolith, though. Because if you've ever played Eolith's Puzzle King, it has a similar mechanic of pieces falling and you trying to do things with them. This also gives you negative scores, which I never quite got the hang of. Still a bit loud. Oh, hold on. Take it down even further. And sometimes pieces overlap, then you don't know which ones you're grabbing. I mean, it's original, but original doesn't always mean good or playable. I can get a P block, which will help me, but I have a limited number of those. I mean, the game has sad in its title. Mostly dressed. I mean, that is apparently the dressed state. I question slightly how dressed it is, but apparently it is dressed. We are going on the game's definition of dressed there. But you can see this is basically just junk. So I think we'll move on from Sadari. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how dressed was there, but that was apparently dressed. So I may have to clip that out if it's too undressed, but I don't know. So YouTube is no sexual content, and I don't think it was sexual, it was just badly drawn. But yeah, the dip switches in that are wrong. There's clearly different definitions of dressed. I had that set to dressed, but not... Yeah, it might need looking at. Anyway. Where shall we go now? Where shall we go now? I think we will go with one last game. I'm trying to decide what game we're going to play. Let's have a look at... I want to go with something that's kind of obscure. Let's go with the shooter that doesn't get played very often to end things. No, we're still horizontal. So, Atlas put out Blazon on Kaneko hardware, and this is kind of interesting because it has doubled up sprite chips. Zoo. We're talking about the Taito G-Net game Zoo. I think I've looked at that before, a single game of that. Anyway, this is very anime inspired. Also kind of R-Type inspired. But no, some of the art in those games, I question, is it nudity or is it not? It's just so badly drawn that I can't even decide myself. I suppose I'll let Google's algorithms decide. But that is apparently the censored image. That is the dressed image. This one is on the SNES too. Yeah, one thing with this is you can capture enemies and transform into their form, which I've not been doing. So you should probably do. Also, you can crash into the walls. You can't capture every enemy type. As you see, some of them you just blast. This one I can capture, I think. Can I capture this one? Yeah, I can capture that one, you see. I take the form of this enemy. And I am now this enemy as my player ship. But unfortunately, I can't actually... I can move my thing around and shoot in different positions. But it's not actually always that useful. And you can't capture everything. Basically, you have to learn what you can and can't capture in this. And that's pretty bad of me playing it. Yeah, well, got to catch these select ones you can collect. I can collect that little one. There you go. That. Okay. Disadvantage. This is going well. Anyway. So you can capture these tiny ones, but you move at turbo speed. You move at literally uncontrollable speed if you capture this one. So if you really want to be like the Flash in ship form, capture one of those small ones? You're not possibly going to avoid anything. Not a fan of the game, at least the music is good. An alarm message. Confirm the high energy core. An alarm message. Release hyperdrive return. I like the presentation on it, but yeah, the gameplay mechanics aren't great. Yeah, they're experimenting. The unclear thing is how does this use 2 sprite chips? Does it just use 2 sprite chips to double the capacity of, the number of sprites you can draw, the full capacity? Or is there something else going on? Is it like the Taito East games where they use 2 sprite chips connected to the same RAM and different ROMs to add more colours? I think MAME almost emulates like 1 sprite chip with more capacity. It's kind of odd. But now I'm too slow to actually do this. Now, obviously I can't capture one of these. It's not as bad as a Reason in the sense of half-assed R-Type, but it's still a little bit odd. Try again. Trying to capture these without dying is amusingly difficult. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a lose ship button. You have to actually hit something to lose your ship. So you're supposed to shoot the orbs, not the turrets. I should not really be reading the chat when I'm trying to play the game. The attract sequence looks really good. The presentation on this game is really good. It's just the game itself. Again, you really have to learn it. So there's no point in capturing these early ones because you'll just get destroyed as soon as you do. In fact, I'm not sure there's any point in capturing these at all. But yeah, it lets you capture them. This one you can capture. Is this a more useful one to have captured? Maybe it's a bit too big and slow though. And I think that's the last thing you can capture before the boss. So I've not played the SNES version. I'm assuming the SNES version is just like a visual downgrade of this. So maybe change the visual, the quarter attack mode just means this doesn't capture anymore, it just attacks. Maybe that's what it's trying to tell me. So I'm meant to be taking out the orb, that makes sense. Unless you've learnt it, you don't know which one is going to be the orb. And then you get destroyed by the bullets. Yeah. Again, I don't think it gets played very often, but it's a bit difficult and you have to learn too much. It is tough. Again, it's one you have to learn, and maybe that's the problem. If you've not learnt the attack patterns, you're just going to die and die and die and die and die. Yeah, it's if you spend the time with it, it's probably alright. If you don't, it'll kill you off pretty quickly. Anyway. Was it going to end the stream there? Or is there time for one more? If I want to go to half past, there's time for one more game. So there's a huge list of games in front of me. Let's have a look at one where the emulation was fixed a couple of years ago. Last year, I think, actually. IGMO by Epos. It was developed by AI for Atlas. I think you mentioned that before. It makes sense. AI did quite a few things. I think they've got better games that weren't released. But it's really well presented. It's just really difficult. So this is one that had wrong colours in MAME for many, many, many years. Because the colour prom wasn't dumped. And it was dumped in 2020, the colour prom. Oh, look, it's got a dragon-like thing. And it's quite a strange little game. Basically, you have to hold a button to walk. And you have to try and make a path across the river by killing the ghosts. I think that's enough. So I can make it across the river. I do need to remap the controls though, because the default controls are not agreeable. It does sound like a Specky. In fact, it plays very much like a game you might expect on the Specky. So again, where is best to try and make this path across the river? Is it here? It's like it's Beaver Simulator. You're building a dam. Well, mutant spider comes to get you. Unfortunately, I think I probably messed it up in the sense that it's now really difficult to build a dam because they're not coming down here. I don't think I could do much here though, because there's too much in the way. See, I can't cross the water there, so I just fall in. Feels like a ZX Spectrum. It's a very odd arcade game. I mean, it's original. It's like... No, sorry, I held the button too long and fell in the water. But yeah, kill things to build, kill like water ghosts to build a water bridge. But then you say, I don't know if you can control where they go, so you're just relying on them going to the right place just so you can build this bridge. And if they don't, then, you know, I need one down here so I can actually build a step, and they're not coming down here. And there's a time limit, yeah. I think the time limit is because they know you can mess it up. Oh, here we go. The time is running out. Come on, come down here. Come down here. That's better. Yes. There we go. I got across. Across we go. Let's rescue her. So, yeah, you can probably see why this isn't the most famous or well-known arcade game. It's very odd. Can I make it across here? I think I can. I think I can. I don't know who I am, Bob. It is quite fun. It's just... yeah, if you walk on those things, you lose your head as well, and then you have to go and get your head back. If you didn't see that, you trip over a stone and you lose your head. And then your legs just walk... You have to walk your legs around until you get your head back. Because without your head, you can't shoot. Just to add to the, you know, very strange aspects that make up this game. I'm doing better than I usually do. I've never seen this on a computer if it's a computer game port. Maybe it's an obscure computer game port, but you know, let's try Bones Adventure. I've played that one quite a few times. When I die on this, I may fire it up as a last game. Let's just drown. But the fascinating thing with this one is it was emulated with bad colours for so long. You had no idea what the colours were meant to be. I was kind of expecting it to be an alien landscape with a purple river and something like that. And then it kind of looks normal. But the brave Igmo, slayer of dragons and saviour of our lovely princesses. Yeah, it's an odd game. A very odd game. Shall we end? I think Bond's Adventure gets played a fair bit, but we can have a look at it. DJ Talent's Classic. It's one I have played quite a few times on stream and always forget what the secrets are. But we'll end the stream on this one then. Igmo and Iggy. There you go. Not Lolo and Lala. Emma has gone crazy. Dilapidated backyard cemetery. The snake. I can't remember which ones you push for the secrets. Fire that line for the secret. You've never seen this one? I've played this one on stream a few times. Oh, you mean Igmo? I think I've played this one on stream a few times, so you should have seen this one. Yeah, I didn't find... I always forget what the secret is that opens up the underground area. This is kind of similar to Liquid Kids, but much more difficult. And without liquid, just with the big bubbles you form by collecting things. Played this on Taito Legends. Yeah, Taito Legends I think is the one that was based on an old version of MAME where the restart points were probably incorrect. See, I can't go that way because you can only go that way if you've gone through the secret area, I think. That's not a good thing to die on. PC version and PC Engine version is awesome. Does it differ from the arcade in any way? Time to read the chat instead of playing the game. Haze. I usually get past the first level. Yeah, the gameplay is similar to Wardner, but easier. Not as stiff. This is more forgiving. I'm surprised I'm not doing a bit better here. Okay. I think I'm just being impatient with it, to be quite honest. And down the well we go. Of course, all wells lead to the underworld. The Dead or Alive River. I mean, it's not the Dead or Alive arcade I quite remember, but as with most Taito games, the audio design here is maybe one of the best parts. Some great little tunes. Water's animated on the PC Engine, but some of the bigger monsters are missing, so they've reworked it to what the system can do, I guess. Sadly, you can't jump on the heads of things. Yeah, if you know where the secrets are, you will be able to do better. In the PC Engine version, the water is floating. I'll have to have a look at the PC Engine version at some point then. But even by my standards, this is a poor run on the game. Usually I do a lot better. Yeah, I'm not up to the mission today. I think that is a fair comment. You're surprised you missed this one? Yeah, it's a really good game, Stephen. I think it's one of Taito's best platform games, actually. That's not, say, the New Zealand Story or Liquid Kids. It is very difficult, though. I mean, do not expect an easy experience if you play it. But it's full of secrets. It's very moody. Some people consider it their favourite Taito game, and I can understand why. It is actually a really good game, and it is often overlooked. Not as much as some of the games maybe I've played today, but definitely a little overlooked. But yeah, I think I should probably end things there. I don't know if I'm going to have to go over this stream and clip a few bits out. Say, even if Sadari is in censored mode, it's a little questionable. The Athena game, Dragon Unit, is a little questionable too. But I don't know. Say YouTube is usually okay as long as it's not sexual, and I don't even know what that means half the time. So we'll see. But yeah, so I hope you have seen games that you may have not seen before. That's generally been the idea. I've wanted to look at some games that I don't usually play, don't usually consider for these streams or lists, or ones I do consider and never get around to, like Ark Area that we started with. I've tried to avoid games I play all the time, apart from maybe Bond's Adventure at the end there, which I have played a few times, but again, it's a good game. I think there's been a good mix of playable games, enjoyable games. We've highlighted a few problems. I say I don't know what's going on with Cube Quest. It just doesn't want to run for me. So there's somewhere the dip switches need work. There's somewhere maybe the visual emulation needs work. Aussie guy was saying, Nunchacken, the colours are wrong, and there's a reference video showing what they're meant to look like. So there's things for me to look into, things for me to research. I don't know if I'm going to have time to prepare a better stream this month, a proper themed one, or if I'll just do another stream with lesser known games. One of the issues with lesser known games is, I've not always played them to make sure they're fully stream friendly, but I try to avoid ones that are immature or any, for obvious reasons. Even though some that are not in mature.ini probably should be in mature.ini, or some that have censored modes aren't censored as much as you expect them to be, but that is the nature of arcade gaming sometimes. And maybe why it's also important to kind of highlight that. Don't trust everything you read, don't trust every dip switch setting you see. Find these things out for yourself. And try and find other YouTube videos of them and see what's in there. And arcades are big and complex, and there's always little surprises you might not be expecting. But that's the nature of the industry, and that's how it was back then. But thank you to everybody who's been here. It's been a good chat with everybody, and there's plenty more I've not covered this stream, so I might catch you on another one soon. It depends on what I'm doing and everything else. So yeah, good night, Mike Iris. Take care, and I shall see you and everybody else next time around. And Aussie Guy, yes, thank you to Aussie Guy. Your facts are always very, very helpful. And see you, Mr. Outer Heaven, and Alpha, and Stephen, and I'm sure Bob, Cow, and Johnny, and everybody else are still lurking there. So goodbye, everybody. Take care. Good night. I'll see you soon.